Hey yo, welcome to another episode of the Superkick podcast. I'm your host Ringside P. This is episode 3. Let's get into it. So it's great to see that Yeet is back with Jey Uso. I had noticed maybe for 2 weeks that he was either just wearing the main event Jey Uso shirt, or there wasn't even any references to Yeet in merchandise. I remember seeing even highlight reel where they had blurred out the word Yeet on the shirt. And I was like, man, I was hoping that they didn't discontinue the shirts or get rid of the shirts. Maybe it must have been a trademark issue or something like that. But it's great to have that back. Waiting for my Yeet hoodie to come and my 2 Yeet shirts to come. So hopefully those come soon and I can rock out with those and show you guys that stuff. Oh, also, like, subscribe, and share. Comment. I did a review of this belt that I had got from SummerSlam. Not SummerSlam, excuse me. No, from Survivor Series. Recently at War Games. So check this out when you get a chance. Also like, subscribe, and share this video as well when you get a chance to. What topics can we get into today? Well, staying on the topic of Jey Uso, I'm not liking that he's been on a losing streak. I think he's had 3 main losses recently, and even though he's fought well in those matches, if he's supposed to be main event Jey Uso, how can he be that character and he's suffering losses consistently like that? I feel like it hurts the credibility of him and being able to make him stand out and actually be an important character on the roster. So he has to win some matches some way. Even though the match between him and Drew McIntyre recently, Drew McIntyre didn't clearly win clean. He did some dirty tactics or whatnot, but still, Jey Uso still losing like that still hurts, because he had just lost to Drew McIntyre a couple weeks ago before War Games, and then he lost to Seth Rollins, and then he lost to Drew McIntyre again. So that's 3 losses in recent weeks that Jey has suffered. So Jey needs to get back on track to still be able to be called main event Jey Uso. And when they had him open up Monday Night Raw this past week, so that was cool to see. But put him in some matches where he can win. And so, you can make him seem like he's credible. And I think usually how I'm going to format the show is, well, Raw, since Raw's Monday and then SmackDown's followed afterwards, all the topics going to kind of go like that, where I'm going to start off with talking about Monday Night Raw and then go into SmackDown topics to end. Or depending on which topics are bigger or better, I might go with that. But also, I got geese outside squawking. I think the next merchandise that I'd like to probably get is some Judgment Day stuff. I just like the colors. The purple and black is real cool. I think they might have some of the best merchandise going right now. And I hope they continue to build with the Judgment Day and keep them solid and not try to break them up or create all this tension between them that we've seen recently. Because they need to be another stable faction in WWE that's solid besides the bloodline. But also, I know you got to kind of cater to all the different audiences in WWE. So even though I might not particularly like that they're trying to have this little side story or whatever with R-Truth, but it is funny and it is cool because R-Truth is always great to see on TV. But I think I would just prefer the Judgment Day to be completely serious all the time, and out just trying to dominating the show and different people. I know they got a match coming up this Monday against the Creed brothers for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships. I don't think the Creed brothers are going to win this. I think it's too early for them right now, even though they probably should. Actual tag teams should have the titles versus 2 individual people grouped as a tag team. But the Creed brothers, I don't think they're ready to be the tag team champions right now, and for WWE to make them do that right now. Honestly, I don't think there are any other tag teams that WWE has built up to be worthy enough that had the titles besides the Judgment Day. They don't really focus on the tag team division like they should, I feel, and having solid, strong tag teams and giving them a strong storyline to go along with, and so they can battle against the champions. Maybe they should have another tag team tournament of some sort. Not so much turmoil because I really don't like that, or the gauntlet. give me tag teams versus each other in like a bracket style tournament, and at the winner at the end of that, faces the champions, and maybe the winner of the tournament can beat the champions and become national tag team champions again. But I still do like the Judgment Day, like their storylines and everything like that, and they just allow JD to become actual group member of the Judgment Day. So for them to kind of have this storyline where it kind of seemed like they might break up soon, I'm not really feeling that. And I wish that they, keep doing solid stuff. So continuing talking about the tag team titles, I think the women's actually have a tag team championship match this Monday too as well, with Piper Niven and Chelsea Green versus Candice and Katana. And I'm thinking that Candice and Katana is going to win, and only because I think they want to continue to build up damage control, which I know this is a Smackdown topic. And since the Kabuki Warriors are back now, I think the Kabuki Warriors are going to go against Candice and Katana and beat them. So I think you can't really have two heels, either whether it is, 1-on-1 or tag team champions, going against each other. So I think that's just kind of the outcome of that match. Even though I still think that Candice and Katana are really great. I think they're probably one of the better tag teams between men and women in the WWE. They got a ton of different tag team moves together. I think maybe they need a little more interesting and exciting entrance. Maybe give them some pyro. I know they got the CO2 cannon guns, but maybe give them something else to really get the crowd hyped into when they come out or whatnot. I know they have like this party vibe, but give me an actual party when they come out all the time. Kind of like when they had Naomi and it was all neon lights and it was the backlight and everything was glowing and whatnot. So give them that shine in a sense to make them seem more competitive and more interesting to the fans out there. And so yeah, I know we got 2 championship matches, which are tag team championship matches for Raw, and usually you do see those titles change kind of on the TV shows versus the main ones, like even like the Intercontinental Championship or the U.S. Championship. Outside of I think when Austin Theory cashed in the Money in the Bank contract on Seth Rollins and he won the U.S. title on Monday Night Raw, you usually don't see the title changes, and I feel like that kind of hurts the title in a sense, because when we had the Jay versus Seth, you kind of knew that Jay wasn't going to win no matter what, because when the last time one of these main titles have changed on a TV show outside of pay-per-view, and I think they kind of make it less predictable for fans. Maybe give me something to where maybe that can change, or that in the Continental Championship can change, or more so that maybe it's just those 2 are so significant and they have them in high prestige that they don't allow them to be changed hands on TV shows. I mean, you already know that the Roman isn't using the championship anytime soon on TV, and it just be at a main event for him to fight and lose it, or if he does lose it. But I think I would like to see the opportunity for the titles to change hands on TV, just so you can feel like, oh man, we can't predict what's gonna happen, and I think that's the best when you can't predict what's gonna happen and it's surprising still. So maybe, hey, that change hands one time, even if it's not this. I think Gunther versus The Miz, is that a possibility where Gunther can lose on the championship? I mean, I think so, but it'd probably be more so, like I say, maybe the Rumble or like a WrestleMania type event versus Monday Night Raw or whatever. But that might be a good idea to try to do something like that to where you can, like I say, add some more spontaneousness. And so also on Monday Night Raw, we had Cody versus Shinsuke Nakamura, and I'm happy that it didn't end in either Shinsuke being defeated, even though he lost through disqualification. So it allows the feud to continue, which I am starting to kind of like the feud a little bit. And I'm liking that it seems like the theme for this year's WrestleMania is finishing the story. I can't say trying to piggyback off of Cody Rhodes or whatnot, but you got CM Punk who wants to finish his story, a main event WrestleMania, you got Shinsuke Nakamura using the whole thing about finishing his story, trying to become a WWE champion or whatnot. And we still got Cody wanting to finish his story to be WWE champion too as well. But it was good to kind of see this and try to continue on a little more with Cody and Shinsuke. Even though you don't think you already know that Cody is gonna prevail over Nakamura and continue on to go to WrestleMania or whatnot. But let's drag that out a little bit more and try to make Nakamura seem to be a little more dangerous and kind of be more of a elite heel in a sense for Raw. Because right now, you don't really have anyone else as heels. And, you got the Judgment Day and they get boos or whatnot, but they're not bona fide like heels in a sense. You got Drew McIntyre who they're trying to build up into a solid heel, and he kind of has like this Thanos like reasoning for everything that he's doing. So you can understand it, but it doesn't necessarily make him the biggest heel for Raw right now. And so I think that's the way they kind of suffer. You got a lot of in between like guys, and you can't really truly boo them. You can boo some of the things that they do, but outside of Dominic Mysterio, but there's no one that you can like truly just boo for being a heel. So I think I kind of missed that this just heel, bona fide heel character who didn't care about what fans think or just out just doing, heel stuff, heel behavior or whatever. Bring that back, and so this would be the opportunity for Shinsuke Nakamura to kind of be that bona fide heel, No one, once he's doing his promos in Japanese, and no one is liking that, so they boo that, which is but I think they're dope, and he's using the Miz and he's using heel tactics or whatnot. But I need a little bit more. I need a little bit more. Put a little more heat on Shinsuke to be that bona fide heel or whatnot. And maybe that might even happen next week when you have Judgment Day versus the Creed Brothers in that tag team championship match. And just last week, Creed Brothers came out and helped Cody Rhodes when Shinsuke spit in his face. So I think you might get Shinsuke costing the Creed Brothers in some way their match against Judgment Day, and they'll still allow Judgment Day to continue on being champions, who probably might lose that at Royal Rumble against someone coming up pretty soon. And the other major news from Monday Night Raw, well, I don't think there was any doubt or question about it, is that CM Punk has signed with Monday Night Raw. But I wish they kind of would have dragged that out a little bit more. Make it less obvious that he was going to go to Raw. They tried to make it seem like he could, but there's a possibility he will go to SmackDown or even NXT, but that wasn't going to happen. I think the most likely and choice would have been for Monday Night Raw with him to have that feud with Seth Rollins coming up. But I was still anxious to kind of see if he can have that interaction with Roman Reigns face to face. He mentioned him last week on SmackDown, so I was hoping they'd be able to drag that out and he can be on SmackDown again this past Friday. And when Roman had returned or whatnot. But they decided to go ahead and cash that in, and put him on Monday Night Raw. So I'm thinking that maybe you might get Punk winning the Royal Rumble, and then you can try to have that who he's gonna go against for WrestleMania. I doubt that Punk would come back, and that not be one of the things that he wanted to do, be able to headline WrestleMania, So I think the fully utilize Punk in the way that he's able to be, not only have him go against Seth Rollins, have those back and forths and those promos against one another, but you gotta have him go against Roman Reigns. The promos against him and Roman Reigns, and the promos against CM Punk versus Paul Heyman. I think those would be amazing, and I think that might be some of the best TV that we might have ever seen before. So but yeah, anyway, Punk is back on Raw. I'm happy to see what they got in store for him. It's major talk of him and Seth Rollins, or they kind of hinting at it or whatnot. But they little promo versus one another itself versus Punk, and Seth Rollins with a outstanding promo. And I think he well, obviously he got the best of Punk in this promo. So I was surprised to see that Seth Rollins had got the best of Punk, because previously when Punk was on Smackdown, he threw some subs at Seth Rollins or whatnot, saying that he wasn't even the own man in his own house. He wasn't the man in his own house. So I thought we would get some more of that back and forth on Monday Night Raw, but we didn't. So, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to get that ever. So hopefully we can get some more of that. I think Seth Rollins is pretty good. Is pretty good on the mic, especially when there's a little more story behind it, or real life behind it. And I think those are kind of like the best storylines that you can get, when you actually got some realness in a little bit of real life to put into the storyline, and I think there's a lot there between Seth Rollins and CM Punk, real life stuff that you can put in there to actually elevate this story and this feud to something great and amazing and whatnot. So now we can switch over to SmackDown topics. We kicked that off by talking about the U.S. Title tournament, which is going kind of well and whatnot. It doesn't seem that interesting to me as far as tournament go, but the matches have been pretty solid and pretty great. The last four that we got are in the final four. We got Santos Escobar, who's gonna go against Bobby Lashley, and then we got KO versus Austin Theory. No, sorry, versus Carmelo Hayes, actually. So it was also great to see Carmelo Hayes on SmackDown. So I'm hoping that he might be a more reoccurring superstar on there. It might actually be a main person on the main roster, because he has a lot of talent, and it'd be good to see him move to the next level or whatnot. So yeah, so Escobar, Lashley, KO, Hayes. And I'm thinking you're going to have Bobby Lashley versus KO at the end. And so when we look at what's going to happen probably between Santos Escobar and Bobby Lashley, I think Carlito's coming back, because a few weeks ago, before Survivor Series, Escobar had taken out Carlito. So I think Carlito comes back, interferes in a way to cost Santos the match, and then Bobby Lashley's going to win that way. And then for KO versus Carmelo Hayes, I still think there's going to be interference in that as well, too. You might get Grayson Waller interfering. You can either get Grayson Waller or Austin Theory going to interfere in a way in that match. And then I think either way, KO wins that. And then we set up KO versus Bobby Lashley. And I think that we're going to have KO versus Logan Paul at the Royal Rumble. I'm not sure how the Bobby Lashley versus KO is going to turn out, but I think it might be in a way of interference again, but it'd be interference that will get Bobby Lashley disqualified. Like Austin Theory or someone's going to interfere, and it's going to cost the match. I don't know, something happened. I wasn't sure. It's going to cost the match for Bobby Lashley, and they'll allow KO to win. Then we get KO versus Logan Paul, which is going to be a pretty solid matchup. Once again, KO is going to stand out again on the mic, because he's a phenomenal on the mic too as well. And I don't think it's going to be a bum match. It might be like a 4 out of 5 star match. I think they say you can't sleep on Logan Paul. He's amazing in the ring or whatnot. But I'm looking to see that Kevin Owens wins the U.S. title, and because he should have it, Logan Paul shouldn't have it right now. And so we see that at the Rumble. One thing about KO, I didn't know that KO wrestled in Jordan 4s. I thought they were actually just wrestling boots, blue wrestling boots, until I was at SmackDown, and he came out. I'm like, man, the shape of them look familiar. And I think I took a picture where I was able to see pretty well that they're Jordan 4s. And then even, because on TV, I just thought they was like wrestling boots and they had the shin guards or something like that on them. But then once I realized they're Jordan 4s, and then he wears the shin guard over them, I'm like, man, it's dope. It's cool to see a lot of superstars or wrestlers or whatever wrestling in shoes for for that. Usos and Air Force Ones. You see the New Day and especially Kofi and all type of different shoes or whatnot. KO and Jordan 4s. Austin Theory, I seen them came out in some Yeezys and things like that. It's dope to see. Then say Judgment Day, Finn Balor, he was Jordan's too. And Liv Morgan, she's always in some Jordan 1s or whatnot. And Carmella, it's a lot of people wear shoes, wear sneakers to wrestling, which is surprising. But I guess it wasn't be more surprising than when Crime Time was wrestling in Tim's. It might be a little bit easier to do so now in just sneakers. But that's dope to see as well, always. So, Karrion Kross is back, even though he had fought Bobby Lashley, I think in the first round of the U.S. title tournament. But he's back and he's cutting promos again. And a little promo this past Friday. And I'm thinking this promo is going to lead to something between him and Randy Orton. The way things are playing out. So that's he might interfere at Royal Rumble. In that match between Orton and Roman. I think Karrion Kross is amazing, and he always had dope promos. I just think maybe when he was having these rivalries or feuds against other superstars, they might get injured, so they kind of leaves him in like limbo or whatnot. But he's definitely a wrestler that I would like to see more on TV. I think his appearance is great. His gimmick or whatever you want to call it is solid. He just needs someone to rival against, and so you can't really do anything if you have no one to go against. But I think his promos or whatnot are kind of hinting at to possibly something between him and Orton going against each other pretty soon. Also, it's great to see that Zelina Vega and Mia Yim are both getting more TV time. Both of those ladies are phenomenal in-ring talent, and it sucks that they weren't really getting opportunity to showcase their abilities. So it's great to see that. I hope that continues for the both of them or whatnot, because there's, like I said before, another episode, there's so much talent in the women's division and just not enough TV time, right? And so what would be good for them is to have another title to allow other women to be able to compete for something and to be able to have some more TV time and maybe cut back on some stuff that just maybe shouldn't be on TV, and be able to showcase a lot of other superstars. And with this other title, this title can be a title that can go from all three brands, to showcase more of the women's talent in WWE. So now, recently we just had Michin and Zelina Vega versus Damage Control. And I'm wondering what they're going to do with Damage Control. They're trying to hype them up to be like a dominant force. And when you think about the different stables and factions that you have in WWE, I might rank them the lowest. Bloodline, Judgment Day, I can't even think of them. Bloodline, Judgment Day, then them, There's no one else that's really, because they don't have no one solid to fight. You get individuals, you get Charlotte, Bianca or whatnot, you get them doing heel stuff, but you also have like this tension, and are they gonna betray Bayley or whatnot? Because I don't think I want to see Bayley as a face anymore. I think Bayley is best as a heel. Heel Bayley is amazing. I think they should keep her as a heel or whatnot. But where does she fit in this new version of Damage Control now, where you have Asuka, Kairi Sane, Io Sky, Dakota Kai, all together, and all of them are vibing together, and you see like Bayley now just kind of being an outsider. It seems like too often that's the case with like stables, right? The main person who creates the stable end up getting ousted by the other members of the stable for some reason, instead of them just allowing them to just be dominant and continue to just direct shop or whatever. And I'm not sure if I really like the idea of them labeling Asuka and Kairi Sane back as the Kabuki Warriors. I wanted it to be Damage Control. If they're all supposed to represent Damage Control, give them just all Damage Control, just music, and let them just come out and just be Damage Control. It's dope in the way that Judgment Day has an actual entrance theme, but all the other themes reflect that main entrance theme, right? And it's all a different interpretation of that main entrance theme. Do that with damage control. Allow them to all still be damage control, the damage control on the Titantron or whatnot, and still have some type of tweak of their interest music and vibe to go along with that fitting for damage control. But I don't want to get confused. Like, I do like the pairing of Asuka and Kairi Sane again. I just don't want them to be titled the Kabuki Warriors. Like, they still leave it at damage control. And like I said, I think you're gonna see Asuka and Kairi on Kabuki Warriors versus Kaden and Katana for the tag team championships. And that may be something at the Rumble too as well. Give me all the titles on the line at Rumble. That's what I want, really. I think that's what we need. I don't think we have had a premium live event where all the titles have been online again. So this should be the start of that for next year for Royal Rumble. All the titles are online, and then we can build back to our road to WrestleMania in a sense and see who's going to go be up next see who's going to be the next contenders for championships or whatnot. I think I might want to see Dakota Kai versus Bayley at some. I think they might lead to that. Whenever Dakota Kai is back and healthy and ready for in-ring action, give me Dakota Kai versus Bayley. Maybe the old leader of Damage Control versus the new leader of Damage Control. I think those should be some dope matches between the two of them. Yeah, but that's what we need in the future. Dakota versus Bayley. So our last topic from SmackDown is obviously that the head of the table is back, Roman Reigns. You know, your tribal chief is back. You gotta acknowledge him. We haven't seen him since Crown Jewel. Even though I feel like he should have been at Survivor Series. It's one of the main premium live events that WWE always have. But, you know, whatever. But he came back, he started to cut his promo, and I wish they would allow him to speak a little longer before we had interruption. I wanted to see him address some different things and address CM Punk being back, you know, because he mentioned Roman, but you didn't get Roman that time to rebuttal, you know, and say anything back to that. Like, create that. Just if you're not gonna cash in on it now, just create that possible thread for the story, you know, to pop off, even though it's always going to be there. But I think we would have liked to seen that little interaction or whatnot. But Randy Orton interrupts him, comes out, and then we got Orton versus Jimmy Uso later on in the evening. Once again, you don't really get to see Jimmy be Jimmy. I think that, well, when you think about it, the matches that way they book Jey Uso, they book him to be far better than they booked Jimmy Uso. Jimmy seems to be the weakest of the bloodline for some reason, instead of him also being, you know, dominant. And I think he should be booked as dominant in a sense too, or just on the same level as Jay. Yeah, Jimmy versus Orton at the end of the night. Obviously Orton wins with RKO, but then you have Solo coming out to kind of try to interfere, but didn't work because then LA Knight comes out. And I think that we're also going to have possibly LA Knight's going to catch the RKO because he's not listening. He's not following direction. He's not listening to Orton. Orton tells me he doesn't want him to come out. So LA Knight is definitely going to catch the RKO pretty soon, probably in the next like 2 weeks, just for interfering or whatnot. So we have them come out. Then Roman comes out, and he's getting to get in the ring with for Orton. He does actually, and you know they stomping him out, and then AJ Styles pops back up, which is surprising because we haven't seen AJ in a minute. Before, I don't think it was Crown Jewel. It might have been Crown Jewels or Fastlane. But I think it was Fastlane the last time before we seen AJ Styles. He comes back, give Roman a phenomenal forearm, knocks him down. They roll out of the ring, so you got the bloodline on the ground, and then you get AJ Styles clotheslining LA Knight for some odd reason. No one knows why. It's only probably speculation is that maybe everyone wants a piece of the bloodline, and everyone is willing to fight each other to get a piece of the bloodline first. And I think that's what it is. I think maybe AJ Styles wanted revenge on Solo, and he couldn't do so because LA Knight was in the way or interfered or whatnot. And so now, currently, I think we're gonna have LA Knight versus AJ Styles, which takes LA Knight out of the Bloodline picture for a time being, and this leaves Randy Orton by himself with the Bloodline. Like I said before, I think you're gonna have Karrion Kross interfering, and then you're gonna have Randy versus Karrion Kross. So then now we're gonna have set up this open for who's gonna step up and fight Roman at Mania. So I guess that all depends on who wins at the Royal Rumble. But it should be very interesting. So make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment on this episode. And next time, adios.